Hello, everybody, and welcome to another continuous education class with the American Institute of Financial Education. We are your digital field marketing educators. Our mission is to promote the pursuit of financial literacy and to elevate the level of professionalism in financial services. So these continuous education courses, that the one that you're going to be receiving today, is to help you to elevate your level of professionalism in financial services. But additionally, we offer financial literacy courses for your clients. And those are courses that you could end up presenting yourself, or you could invite them to our financial literacy courses. So again, the American Institute of Financial Education's missions, AINFE missions, is to promote the pursuit of financial literacy to your clients, for your clients, and to elevate the level of professionalism in financial services for you, the insurance agent, through these continuous education courses. Today's training is on the American Rescue Act, ARPA, 2021, and the insurance agent. This course is has 2 hours of continuous education with the Texas Department of Insurance. This is course number 126703, and you will be needing that information by the end of the course. The way you're going to be getting your certificate is as follows. You have to be online for the next 2 hours. It is very important that we have a system that will record that, and we need to show that to the Department of Insurance. So you have to be online for 2 hours. If for any reason you get disconnected or anything, please go ahead and connect again, but you need to make sure that you are 2 hours with us. That's number one. Additionally, at the end of the course, you're going to have a pop-up evaluation form is going to show up in your screen. Complete that form. Make sure you include your name as it appears on your insurance license. And we're going to use that to get you your 2 hours of continuous education. Additionally, I would say in the next 2 days, you can log into your Circon account and check that the 2 hours of continuous education for this course are properly registered. If you do not have an account with Circon, we strongly recommend that you open an account there, and we strongly recommend that you manage everything that has to do with your insurance license through Circon. They are the designated platform for the Department of Insurance to manage everything that has to do with insurance license and continuous educations and all that. So we strongly recommend you that you open your account with Circon and check out the when we register the 2 hours that you're going to be receiving today for the participation in this training. You will be able to watch this training again. And for that, basically, we have different channels where you can go to watch the whole 2 hours again. Number one, in our Prinsuco website, we have the continuous education channel there, and you can go into the Prinsuco website to the continuous education channel and see the presentation again. Additionally, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can see the presentation on our YouTube channel on the American Institute of Digital Marketing, or you can go to our Roku channel. We have a Roku channel, and the name of that channel in Roku is Total Financial Governance TFG channel. That's the logo for the channel. You can go there, and there are different sections there. Look under the agent development section, and you will be able to see, again, the whole course there. So again, 3 different ways how you can go back and look at everything that we're doing. Number one, under the Prinsuco Continuous Education channel. Number 2, under our YouTube channel. And number 3, under our Roku channel. So you will be able, I'm going to provide you with a lot of information today, so you can go back and watch it and stop it and do whatever you want with the videos once you can have access to them through the channel. Our group of companies, we have Premier Insurance Contracts. Premier Insurance Contracts is our field marketing organization or an FMO. We sell all different types of insurance products. We sell life insurance, health insurance, Medicare Advantage. Obviously, we sell ACA. We're a very large ACA organization in the country. So that's Premier Insurance Contract. The website is Prinsuco. That's Premier. Then we have the American Institute of Financial Education, AINFE, and AINFE is the educator. Again, as I mentioned before, we educate agents like you under the continuous education format with different states, and we also have financial literacy courses for the end user, for your clients. Then we have the American Institute of Digital Marketing, which is an organization created by insurance sales professionals for insurance sales professionals, where we teach insurance agents how to apply the latest digital marketing techniques to sell insurance products. Precisely tomorrow, we have every Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning, we have training under the American Institute of Digital Marketing. If you are interested in learning how to use digital marketing to enhance your financial and insurance sales, then that would be the place to go. We have Wealth Management Solutions, which is our e-commerce platform, and basically this is moving towards a personal financial planning platform by subscription. So that's Wealth Management Solutions, and then we have another platform that is called Cashback Universe. And the reason why I show you that is because you might be getting communications from these different companies promoting different things and different services that might help you. So that's our 5 different companies within the group. Personally, myself, my name is Al Castellanos. I have been selling insurance and financial products for over 38 years now. I'm obviously an insurance agent, a grandfathered insurance agent. I'm a CFP, a certified financial planner. I have a master's in financial planning. I have a master's in financial analysis. I have a postgraduate diploma in digital business, and I completed my PhD studies in personal financial planning. I didn't complete the PhD studies, the dissertation, so I'm not a PhD, but I did complete my PhD studies in personal financial planning, and all of that to help develop all this training and all these courses that we are presenting to you through these channels like the one we're doing today. So that's me. Today, again, we're going to be talking about the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. It's going to be 2 hours, so we're going to go from 10:30 to 12:30 Central Time. So bear with us. Again, if you get disconnected or anything, please make sure that you get connected again. You can ask questions through the chat, so get familiarized with the chat. And additionally, if you are interested in any of the things that we mentioned, please make sure you post your comments in the chat. We're going to be reading all of those. And if you have questions and we have time, which is going to be tight, we might ask a couple of questions. If not, we'll follow up on your questions at the end of the workshop via an email. So make sure you include your email in all the communications that you're having with us. So again, let's get started right away. So this is the agenda. We're going to talk about what is the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. So what is that? And then we're going to be specific about how ARPA interacts with advanced premium tax credit changes, how it interacts with Cobra, how it interacts with Medicaid, and how it interacts with everything that has to do with stimulus payments, enhanced unemployment, and the premium tax credit. Here you have advanced premium tax credit, and here you have premium tax credit, and there is a difference there, and you need to understand all that. The reason why this is so important is because all these changes to Cobra and to Medicaid does affect your relationship with your clients under ACA and now under ARPA. So we're going to see how those changes affect the way you need to understand what's going on and how to give advice to your clients with regards to what is the most convenient way for them to move forward with all the changes that are coming up. So what is the American Rescue Plan Act? Basically, it was signed into law on March 11th. So if you think about it, we have done a good job in terms of putting a continuous education class in place almost a month after it was signed into law. So we did move up very fast to get all the materials and put everything in order and to file with the different departments of insurance and to finally have it here as an offer to you. So we did move thoroughly in that. But the spirit of the law, basically the most important thing is that it makes the marketplace coverage more affordable. That is the overall intention of ARPA, is to make marketplace coverage more affordable. Okay, so that is, and you're going to see how it affects all different elements in terms of making it more affordable for individuals. It gets into subsidizing Cobra. We're going to talk about that. It expands Medicaid, especially having to do with women and postpartum coverage. So we're going to see how that works. It increases unemployment compensation, and it provides a lot of stimulus payments. And all of that is important because it's going to affect individuals' finances. But at the same time, we're going to see how that would affect them being eligible for any one of the subsidies. So we're going to see how all of this it's put together so that it's, again, keeps the spirit of making marketplace coverage more affordable for everybody. So that's the spirit of the law. So now let's talk about the premium tax credit, PTC, premium tax credit, before ARPA. How it used to work under the ACA. And remember that under the ACA, we had this table. And for those of you who have been participating in our trainings, you were very much familiarized with the tables. And I'm going to show you the tables in a couple of slides here. But basically, anybody that was between 100%, and let me change this to this one here, 100% and 400%, these were the magic numbers. Anybody between 100% and 400% of FPL, the federal poverty level, anybody here could get some type of subsidy, was eligible for some type of subsidy under ACA. And that's how it used to work. So again, and nobody under 100% and nobody over 100% of FPL was entitled to any one of the subsidies under ACA. That's how it used to work, okay? So remember, we had a very defined limit from 100% of FPL all the way to 400% of FPL. And if you were in that sweet spot there, then you could get some type of help, some type of subsidy from the federal government. Now, let's get into the specifics of how those subsidies are applied. We all know the cost structure of a health insurance plan. And hopefully you know that there are 5 cost elements to a health insurance plan. A lot of people think that the only thing that is important is the actual premium, and that's not the case. You do have 5 elements. You have the premiums, and you have the deductibles, and you have the coinsurance, and you have the copayments, and you have the maximum out of pocket. So you have 5 different cost elements that make up the cost structure of a health insurance plan. And this is very important to understand because ACA would deal with all 5 elements, but ARPA only deals with the first element. So you need to understand that, and that's going to you need to understand that in order for you to make decisions with regards to recommendations to your clients, okay? So again, the way subsidies work under ACA, under the Affordable Care Act, there was an advanced premium tax credit, an APTC, that would help with your monthly premiums. And then you have cost sharing reductions, CSRs, that would help with deductibles, coinsurance, copayments, and maximum out-of-pockets whenever you elected a silver plan. So this is how it used to work. You had APTC for premiums, so that would advance premium tax credit will give you the money to pay for the premium, and then you had cost-sharing reductions that would literally reduce your cost sharing depending on where you were in terms of the FPL table. So that's how it used to work. Again, as I mentioned before, ARPA now helps with one, but doesn't touch these elements here. And that is very important for you to know because you're going to have to make decisions based on that reality. Now, there was another important element under ACA, and that was the annual cost sharing limits. This is very important because for an individual, the annual cost sharing limit, the maximum out of pocket, let's put it that way, the maximum amount of money that will leave your pocket was for a single individual, $8,550, and for a family was $17,100. That was the annual cost sharing limit. Now remember, this was within the table. And this is the table here. For those of you who have been participating in our training for years now, are very much familiar with these tables, and you use it as a marketing element. You know that the colors are important and everything there is important, but we're not going to have a training on the FPL table today. But if you want the table, send us a message, tell us that you want it, and we will send you a PDF of this table. And in fact, a PDF that you can print in a very large printout or a poster, and you can place it in your office or wherever you want. And by the way, I updated the numbers as of April the 15th. So these are the latest numbers for the FPL table as of 2021. So these are the updated numbers for FPL. But the important thing, going back to our interaction between ACA and ARPA, is the fact that before, if you were anywhere between 100% and 400% of FPL, so you were anywhere here, in this box here, you will get an advanced premium tax credit. That's money to help you pay for your premium, and you will get cost sharing reductions if you elected a silver plan and you were up to 200% of FPL. So if you were anywhere here, you could get cost sharing reductions with a given percentage. In this case here, 94% of cost sharing, 87%, and let me make this here, 87% of FPL of cost sharing, and 73% of cost sharing, depending on where you were. And this was how it used to work on the ACA. Again, if you were to the left, let me change this here to the left. So if you were here on the ACA, or you were to the right, you were on this side here, you will not get any type of subsidy to pay for your monthly premiums, and you were not eligible for any type of cost sharing reductions, CSRs. Okay, that's how it used to work. And again, if you are interested in getting the chart, this is something that we use a lot. Many of the most productive agents use this table in many different ways to help explain everything that has to do with the subsidies and all that. Now, there was the Medigap Medicaid Gap, and we all know this is very important because, again, in the past, and let me change this here, in the past, if you were to the left of this line here of 100% of FPL, there was basically no coverage. So there was no coverage here. And then if you were between 100% and 400% of FPL, then you would get the marketplace subsidies. So that was very unfair because you had a lot of people under 100% of FPL that wouldn't get any type of help at all. And somebody that was making more money than them would get a lot of help. So there was this Medicaid coverage gap, which was a major problem. Well, guess what? You're going to see how now ARPA gets into this no coverage area here with specific applications, with specific rules to help people that fall under the no coverage, that have very specific situations, and we're going to talk about them in a couple of slides. Okay, so that's the Medicaid gap. Again, ARPA does get into this no coverage gap a lot, and we're going to see how that works. Now, the first important change under ARPA is the removal of the 400% premium tax credit cap. So remember, in the table that I show you, that if anybody was over 400% of FPL, then there was zero subsidy, no money to help with the monthly premiums, and no money with cost sharing. No help if you were over 400% of FPL, which will get you in the realm of, let's say, affluent individuals, people with a little bit more money, small business owners, somebody with a high salary. They will get on over that 400%. So the first fundamental change here is the fact that they introduce this percentage, 8.5% of household income. 8.5% of household income. That's the magic number, and that's a number that you need to know. 8.5% of household income. So basically what it says now is that instead of having this limit at 400% of FPL, now anybody that is over 400% should not spend more than 8.5% of their household income in the monthly premium of their healthcare coverage. So with this, people that are over 400% of FPL now have a way to reduce their monthly premium. So this is the first fundamental change. Again, this is for affluent individuals. And this specific part of the law will be in place for 2021 and 2022 plan years. So this is for 2 years. What's going to happen after that? Nobody knows. But for the time being, this is going to be in place for 2021 and 2022. And for those of you who have been in this business 7, 8 years now, like we have, we already know that you don't think 10 years down the line. You think next year, next 2 years, because things change, as you can see, dramatically at any moment. So we don't go into 5 or 10 years into the future. We want to plan and do everything for the next year, the next maximum, the next 2 years. So this is good. This is going to be in place for the next 2 years, and that's the time that we need in order to adjust for everything. So change number 1, removal of the 400% PTC cap. Okay. Now remember that we said that this was for everybody. The idea was to make healthcare affordable to everybody. We just saw how it made it more affordable for individuals over 400% of FPL. But let's get more specific. For individuals between 100 and 150% of FPL. So this is these individuals here, okay? And let me just go 1 second to the chart again to this. So we're talking about individuals in this box here, okay? Individuals in this quadrant here, all the way to 100, from 100 and 150%. We're talking about those individuals there, okay? Basically for those individuals, and I'm sorry about that, they should be able to get a plan with 0 premium. Some type of plan with 0 premium. Those individuals should be able to find a plan. Everybody between 100 and 150% should be able to get a plan with 0 premium. Now, 4 out of 5, okay? 4 out of 5, 80% will be able to find a plan for $10 or less. Okay? So 4 out of 5, 80% of individuals should be able to find a plan. And we're talking 4 out of 5 of the totality of the population, of everybody under the marketplace, everybody under that umbrella, should be able to find a plan for $10 or less after, obviously, the advanced premium tax credit. And then over 50%, 1 out of each 2 individuals should be able to find a silver plan. Here we're being more specific, a silver plan for $10 or less after advanced premium tax credit. So there you have it. You know, when we're talking about making it more affordable to everybody, we already saw with the 8.5% how it goes above 400% of FPL, and then from 100 to 150% of FPL, they should also be able to get a plan for 0 premium per month. And then a lot of people, 80% should be able to get some plan for $10 or less, and 1 out of 2 individuals should be able to get a silver plan. Now remember, what is the importance of silver plans? The importance of silver plans is the fact that they get into CSR. They get into the extra help for the deductible and the coinsurance, which is not the case for bronze plans or for platinum plans. So that's why it's important that you always keep as a reference the silver plans, okay? And then again, the applicability for this is 2021 and 2022. So this is when we talk about the spirit of the law, making it affordable for everybody. So that's what we're talking about, of making it affordable for everybody. When are these changes being implemented? The implementation started on April the 1st. So obviously it starts on April the 1st. So anybody that you write or you start doing anything with them on April, it will have an effective date on May the 1st. So they will start getting these benefits on May the 1st. Okay, so now let's look at specific situations. Anybody that is submitting a new application, or anybody that is resubmitting an existing application, will be provided with a new eligibility result, and that eligibility result will reflect the new quantities. So anybody that is sending an application for the first time, or anybody that is already there and resubmits an application, will have to get a new eligibility result that will already take into consideration these new elements, okay? The advanced premium tax credit, as I mentioned before, will be applied for the coverage starting on May the 1st of any application that was revised during April. Now, the marketplace is not going to provide retroactive advanced premium tax credit. So it's not that you're going to be getting the advanced premium tax credit from January and February or March, but individuals will get the premium tax credit when they do their taxes next year. So it is not retroactive for January, February, and March, or if they do it in May, let's say for June, it's not retroactive, but that does not mean that they lose the premium tax credit. They will get it when they reconcile their taxes in 2022 for the 2021 season. So again, there's going to be no retroactivity in terms of cash being provided to anybody, but that does not mean that you're going to lose the premium tax credit that you were entitled to as of the beginning of the year. So that's very important there. Now, here we're going to talk about how an insurance agent can help with the advanced premium tax credit changes. And see how we emphasize advanced premium tax credit, because it doesn't get into cost sharing reductions. It's only for the advanced premium tax credit, and that is very important. Okay, the first thing, you need to start informing, and they say it all the time there, inform consumers, inform consumers, inform consumers. So inform consumers, for those individuals who have not previously enrolled in the marketplace because they thought that it was too expensive. Those individuals who were within the 100 and 400%. Many of those individuals said, no, that's too expensive, and they didn't enroll in a plan. Now, for those individuals, you need to inform them, you need to tell them that they should now apply again because there are new benefits available. So that is for the people inside the 100 to 400% that for some reason in the past did not enroll in a marketplace plan. So that's number one. Number two, those individuals that are already receiving an advanced premium tax credit, they most probably are going to be eligible for additional advanced premium tax credit. So they need to return to the marketplace, they need to go back to the marketplace, and they need to update their application. And then they need to either, and we're going to see specifics of how it's done, and they need to either stay with the same plan or enroll in a different plan, but they need to go again and do it. So again, this is people who were between 100 and 400% that had previously decided not to enroll. They can enroll now, they're going to get more benefits. Those individuals that are already in the marketplace, they can also check to see for additional advanced premium tax credit. And here we're talking about consumers whose household incomes were above 400%, and we already saw how this is one of the first things that the new law, the Arpa, covers, is the fact that through that 8.5% limit to household income, those individuals are now eligible for subsidies. So again, this is those from 100 to 400 who were not there, now they can go. Those that were already receiving, they can receive more. And those, let's say, affluent individuals who were not there because they were not covered at all by ACA, now they also have the possibility of getting additional subsidies. Now, it's important. They need to update their application in order to get a new eligibility. Okay, so they need to go into the marketplace, and they need to do that. And what the federal government has done, through healthcare.gov, it has two very specific tools. One on their healthcare.gov/lower costs. Healthcare.gov/lower cost. So that's one. That's what they call the income levels and savings tool. So you can go there and look at the income levels and savings tools. It applies the tables and all that. And then there is a second one that is called the healthcare.gov/C plans. And this is for window shopping. So they can go in there and they can enter some information. They don't need to enter all their information, and they can window shop different plans and how different things will go. So again, two very specific tools that are now available to help individuals. One is healthcare.gov/lower costs, and the other one, healthcare.gov/C plans. And again, you remember what I told you, you can go back and look at the whole presentation to get the specifics of what we're talking about here. So we're going to continue talking about how an insurance agent can help with the advanced premium tax credit changes. Remember, we are not talking about cost sharing reductions at all. Okay? And that is very important. And let me tell you why. He says here very clearly, consumers need to consider how much they have already paid toward the deductibles and maximum annual cost. Because if somebody has already gone through the deductibles and has been paying a lot of copayments and coinsurance and all of that, and it's reaching their maximum out of pocket, if that individual changes to a new plan, then all those copayments and all those deductibles that he already went through are washed away. They're going to be reset to zero, and they will need to start overpaying out-of-pocket expenses. So that's why I'm saying it's very important that you understand that this new help is only for the advanced premium tax credit and not for CSR, because if they have already incurred some of those expenses, they will reset to zero if they change into a new plan. And remember, some of those deductibles and some of those maximums out of pocket can be all the way to $17,000. So that is an important consideration when thinking about moving to a new plan. Now, additionally, if somebody does not opt for the advanced premium tax credit, or the marketplace did tell them in the past that they were not eligible for advanced premium tax credit, they might still be now, based on these new changes, eligible for a premium tax credit that they could take when they file their federal income tax returns next year. So again, and we're going to cover this again later on in the presentation, the fact is that if individuals are entitled to these new benefits, if they don't take them, they do not lose them. But we're going to see how we're going to work that. Now, it says here, direct consumers to visit the website for more information, healthcare.gov/more savings. That's something that I strongly recommend that you have your links in one of your landing pages. And for that, you can get into our digital marketing training for us to show you how you get all these links in your landing pages so that you manage that relationship with them and you don't keep sending it to a place where somebody else might be selling them something. So again, make sure that all these links and all these instructions here, you have them in a very well-organized landing page so that you control the relationship with your clients and you are not sending them to somebody else. Very important to do it that way. Okay. So what happens if somebody is currently enrolled in the marketplace? How do they receive this additional premium tax credit? How do it work? Okay, so we already said it before. They have to go into healthcare.gov and they need to update their application. And again, it started on April the 1st. So if they do it during the month of April, they will have an effective date of May the 1st. So they should be seeing a reduction in their monthly premiums as of May the 1st. But if you put them in a new plan, be careful. If you change them to a different plan, then the deductibles and the coinsurance and the copayments become an important element in the decision. Be careful with that. You don't want to have problems. Somebody's going to tell you, hey, I already paid $7,000 in deductibles, and now I have to pay deductibles again. Well, guess what? You didn't do your job properly. You have to be very careful with that. Okay. Here, I'm going to be very, very specific of the individual steps that you go through for somebody that is currently enrolled in a marketplace plan. Okay, so how do they receive the additional premium tax credit if they are presently enrolled in a marketplace plan? And I'm going to show you some images on this, but initially I want you to have the specific instructions. So let me change this to this here. So obviously the first thing, you log on into healthcare.gov, obviously, and then they go to My Applications and Coverage. So select their name in the top right of the screen and select My Applications and Coverage. That's the first place you go to, My Applications and Coverage. And then you go under Your Existing Application, select remember, this is for people that are already enrolled in the marketplace. So you're going to go under Your Existing Applications and you're going to select the 2021 application. So you select the 2021 application, and then you're going to select Report a Life Change. You're going to report, so you're going to treat it as a life change. Now, they do have a specific instruction for that. I'm going to show you that now. So you're going to scroll down and you're going to actually select Report a Life Change. And then you're going to select Report a Change in my household income, size, address, or other information, and then select Continue. So this is the order in which you go into healthcare.gov and where you need to go in order to get them their additional premium tax credit. Now, once you are in there and you have reported the life change, you continue through the entire application and you need to review any information. You have to review the whole process. So basically you are doing it again, and that's part of when you report a life change. And finally, when you get to the end, you're going to select View Eligibility Notice. You're going to view the eligibility notice, okay? And you're going to click on it and you're going to open it. Now, remember, all these individuals already have an eligibility notice for 2021. And if you are doing things right, you have a copy of all those eligibility notices, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to take this new eligibility notice. Make sure you don't get them confused, because you want to keep the old one and then save this one as the new one. So you need to be careful with the name when you save it into your computer, so that you have the old eligibility notice with the old advanced premium tax credit and any type of CSR that they were getting, okay? And you have the new one. Make sure you don't override the old one, because then you lose that information. Obviously, you can always go back to the marketplace and recuperate it, but it's more work. So again, be careful with the naming of these eligibility notices. And then you're going to continue to enrollment, and you can reselect the current plan. So you can go back to your old plan, or you can choose a new plan. Okay, so you go through the whole process and you just select either the same plan again. If you don't want to mess around with the deductibles and all that, I strongly recommend that you stay with the same plan. But if that is not an issue, they have not used it at all, then obviously they can select a better plan, whatever plan is better for them based on this new reality. So that's how you help people that are already there. And these are the actual images of the process. Number one, you click on My Applications and Coverage here, My Applications and Coverage. Then you select your existing applications here, your Texas application. So you select the one that you have for 2021. So you click on it, you select that one. Then you're going to report a life change here, report a life change. So you're going to click here, report a life change. So you select report a life change there, okay? Then you're going to look for report a change in my household income, size, address, or other information. So you're going to click here and you're going to click on continue. So again, this is exactly the same thing as I showed you before. This is how you make the actual changes. Then you go to the eligibility notice. Remember, this is a new eligibility notice. the new one, you're going to open that and you're going to see the new conditions for that. And then you're going to either return to your enrollment partner if you were coming in through a different platform, or you can continue with healthcare.gov and go and select either the same plan again or the new plan. That will be the process in terms of healthcare.gov. So you have a visual there of the different screens that you're going to go through in order to complete the process of getting them additional advanced premium tax credits. Okay. What happens if somebody, and we already touched on this, but we're going to touch on it again because it's very important. And remember that there is a lot of speculation here and a lot of what I call pirates, okay? These agents that fly by night that are always trying to do things the wrong way. You have a lot of that, unfortunately for us. Okay, so you have a lot of people calling them and lying to the public with regards to everything that is here. So what happens if somebody just doesn't do anything? They don't come back. Okay, it says here, what if happens if they don't come back? Well, if they don't come back, they can wait until they have to file their federal income tax next year, and they will receive the additional premium tax credit. So it's not that, again, that they don't lose anything. They would just get the additional money when they file for their taxes for 2021 in 2022. That's what would happen to somebody that doesn't do anything. They will get some additional money in February or March of next year. But that is not our recommendation. That is not what we recommend you, and that's not what the federal government is recommending you to do with your clients. We want to make sure that we ease those cash flows with the additional advanced premium tax credit. So if they were getting $1,100 of advanced premium tax credits, and now they're entitled to $1,200 on advanced premium tax credit, that's an additional $100 that they don't have to pay on a monthly basis. So you don't want to wait for that money to accumulate and them getting those $1,200 in February of next year, but you want to ease the cash flow now. So that's why it is important that you do it now. Okay, so that's the recommendation, is ask them to do it and get that additional advanced premium tax credit so that they ease on their cash flow. That would be the recommendation that we provide and that the federal government also provides. So what happens to somebody that at these times does not have marketplace coverage? When should they apply? Well, this is a little bit obsolete because, again, this came out in the month of March. So they were saying, hey, remember that there is an SEP in place right now that was originally until May, and they extended until August. So there is an SEP going on. So what they were saying is, hey, in the month of April, go log in with your SEP and apply for coverage, and then go again during the month of April. This was in March, and then go back in April and then submit the application again to see how much additional advanced premium tax credit you could get. That's not the case anymore. This is gone with the wind. This is not the case anymore. Now we are in April. So basically what you need to do for somebody that does not already have a marketplace coverage, they need to go now and they can just enroll in a new plan that would start on May the 1st. Okay, so that will be the case for that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the reconciliation before ARPA. And this is very important because the biggest one that I saw for not understanding this, the most horrible story that I saw, that I heard of because of this lack of understanding of the reconciliation process, was a very poor lady that she owed $9,000, okay, because of not understanding the reconciliation. So this is very important, okay, this is very important. You all know, hopefully, you all know that every year, everybody that is, anybody that purchases coverage through the marketplace, they receive Form 1095A. So we all receive Form 1095A, and you get it in the mail. In most instances, that's in early February. And that form basically says how much advanced premium tax credit was paid on your behalf to the insurance company. Okay, so now you have that form. Then you take that form to your tax preparer, and he does a reconciliation of that. And the form that they use for that reconciliation is Form 8962. So they reconcile the projected number that was provided when we completed the application versus the reality of what was the household income for the year. So the tax preparer reconciles and finds the difference. Either the advanced premium tax credit was too much, or the advanced premium tax credit was short. And then they tell you, okay, you have $300 more coming over because your advanced premium tax credit was shorter than your actual reconciliation, or you owe money and you have to pay a difference of whatever number. So that's how the reconciliation would work before ARPA. That's how it works. That, again, Form 1095, Form 8962, reconciliation, and then any difference between the two figures, either you would get a refund or you owe money. That's how it used to work, and then that would be applied to your taxes. That's how it used to work. Well, let me tell you something. You're going to be now the bearer of incredibly good news to your clients. Okay, this is really good. The first one, repayment of any excess of advanced premium tax credit for 2020 is not required. And this can be a lot of money, okay? Now, the IRS, the instructions are not clear of how that's going to work at this time, but there's going to be additional information on how it's going to work. But basically, repayment of excess advanced premium tax credit is not required. That is the law. That's ARPA. ARPA says that, okay? And that applies for 2020, only for 2020. So this is just for 2020, because guess what? If we would apply for 2021, everybody would do what? They would overestimate that advanced premium tax credit, thousands and thousands of dollars, and then show up with a little bit of income, and they wouldn't have to pay anything back. So that's why they don't do it for 2021. So this is just valid for 2020. But this comes handy. So what happens when the projected advanced premium tax credit is greater than the actual for 2020? And remember, when we are recommending clients, we always say, hey, what is going to be your projected income for next year? We always work based on a projected income, because nobody knows how much money they're going to be making, the exact number they're going to be making next year. So what happens when somebody projected an APTC greater than the actual amount? Okay, well, as I mentioned before, let consumers know that they will not be responsible for repaying, and this is incredible, the advanced premium tax credit if their actual household income is greater than the projected household income. So again, this is not retroactive in the sense that it already happened. So either you already have it or don't have it. You cannot go back and change things. But for those individuals that projected an APTC that was way greater than their actual, they just got that money. Now, at this time, there are no clear instructions by the IRS on how to proceed with that. But if somebody had already, let's say before this came out, had already filed for the taxes with that situation, the recommendation by the IRS is not to file an amendment. Do not file an amendment. Don't try to now go back and, no, wait until the IRS releases updated guidance. So that's the instruction for those who were benefited by this and had already filed their taxes before the March 11, the ARPA was approved, okay? So those are the instructions with regards to this situation there, okay? So that's the first topic. We were talking about how ARPA was directly benefiting individuals with the advanced premium tax credit. Now we're going to move a little bit away from that to other areas that are also very important. The first one has to do with unemployment compensation. So let's look at unemployment compensation under ARPA. So we're going to look at that and how it works. The first thing that happened is that ARPA substantially extended the federal unemployment compensation. Basically, we're talking about $300 per week. So we're talking about $1,200 per month, okay, for individuals who are collecting unemployment compensation. So they're getting $1,200 a month, okay? Now, the first thing that is very important, all unemployment compensations need to be reported to everybody, okay? So tell people, do not hide that you're getting this money or that money. No, everything needs to be reported. If you are getting unemployment compensation, you have to report everything. Now, the important thing about that is the fact that all that money is not countable when determining any type of eligibility for Medicaid or for CHIPS or actually for the marketplace. And we're going to see how that works in a couple of slides. The marketplace will subtract that amount when calculating any type of income for Medicaid and for CHIPS, okay? And the applicability date of this specific feature is through September the 6th of 2021. Okay, so any unemployment that any individual is getting right now, all the way till the month of September, they have to report it, but it's not going to count for anything. So they're not going to add it to your income or anything. So that's element number one associated with unemployment compensation. Now remember, why is this important? We have a lot of people that when you file for their application and they are in an area where they can get, they are eligible for CHIP or for Medicaid, then they're taken into CHIP. You don't get them into one of these plans, but they are moved that is automatically you have to apply for CHIP, okay? And this additional compensation will affect all their income. So the fact that it's not being added as an additional income is very important in terms of qualifying for all these additional benefits. So very important, the fact that this is being taken into consideration. Additionally, again, remember, and they always emphasize this, the fact that ARPA, the whole spirit behind ARPA was to make it more generous for people to receive all these different benefits that are being offered, okay? So that's the spirit. So anybody that receives, again, any type, and we already mentioned this, but they emphasize it again, they need to report, okay? They need to attest, and they need to report, and they need to provide documentation to the IRS of any type of unemployment compensation when they're filing their taxes. This is very important. When they're filing their taxes, they need to report and attest of all this income. But remember when we were looking at the federal poverty level chart, and we mentioned the fact that anybody that was under 100% of FPL would fall under the Medicaid gap, and they would not be able to get all these benefits under ACA, under the Affordable Care Act. Well, if anybody receives an unemployment compensation check, they automatically qualify for advanced premium tax credit and CSRs automatically. And the last thing that I heard, they were going to be placed at 138% of FPL. So they're going to be able, they're entitled to the maximum amount of premium tax credit and the maximum amount of cost sharing reductions. So anybody that is receiving, and remember, they have to report the income, but it's not going to be included as income. It's going to be reported, but not included. It's not going to be added. The fact that they are receiving an unemployment check will place them inside, no matter where they are, it will place them inside the FPL. And again, I have to reconfirm, but I think it's at 138%. I read it once, but I couldn't reconfirm it. But basically, they're going to be getting the maximum amount of benefits in terms of advanced premium tax credits and cost sharing reductions. And again, this only applies for 2021. So this is just the case for this year. Okay, so that's a very important element right there. Now, the specifics of how this is going to work is still not out there. So they're talking about all the compensation are not available until later this summer, but people should, the message is, hey, do it, because the legislation and the guidelines of how we're going to apply all of this are coming as soon as possible. So that is the message from the federal government. Okay, supposedly later CMS is going to release more details, and they're going to inform them how to treat that. That's why I was telling you that I couldn't confirm the 138%, because the actual guidelines are still not out there. When we were putting together all the course and everything, we were looking at all the guidelines and everything, and we couldn't find specifics about that. And then they did notify everybody that they're going to be coming out with additional notifications later on how they're going to be working this. But the message is clear: is anybody that receives unemployment, anybody that gets additional unemployment compensation help, they will be entitled to the maximum amount of advanced premium tax credit and CSRs. So, and again, they emphasize the fact that all types of unemployment compensation should be reported to the marketplace. So again, do not hide any compensation. Everything needs to be reported. Don't worry, because it will not be taken into consideration to calculate the levels of incomes to place you within the bracket that you're going to be there. Not going to add, but needs to be reported. If it's not reported, an individual can get in trouble for not doing so. So very important. They're very serious about you making sure that you tell your clients and the beneficiary that they need to report everything. The message is very clear with regards to that. Okay. So now let's change gears. Let's get into Cobra. And Cobra, I don't know, insurance agents, many insurance agents are not very familiar with Cobra. But basically, Cobra is the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, Cobra. And basically, this is one of those laws that has been out there for a while. Remember that in the past, group insurance would basically not take into consideration pre-existing conditions. So a lot of people will actually get a job just to be able to qualify for health insurance, because if they went in the past through the individual market to try to get insurance and they have some type of health condition, they will not be approved. So one way for you to override that situation was to getting under some type of employer insurance. Now, what would happen to you if you were fired or you were terminated or you quit? Obviously, you will lose that coverage from that group insurance. And when you would go back to being independent and wanted to buy individual insurance, you could not get it because you had some type of pre-existing condition. And that was a serious situation. So Cobra, the way it used to work was as follows. If you had group insurance and you were either terminated or you quit or whatever, but you were not part of the company anymore, basically you could continue having the coverage through the group plan. You could continue having the coverage, and it was the employer's decision if they wanted to contribute to your monthly premium, or you would pay for the totality of the monthly premium. And that was in most cases the situation. Basically, they would say, hey, you can keep the group insurance that we have as an employer, but you're not an employee of us anymore. Therefore, now you pay for it. And the individual would pay the monthly premium, which normally was very expensive because it was a generous plan, okay? And the individual would pay for it. Now, this was not with no limits. The individual could stay within the plan for up to 18 months. So there were certain rules associated with how much time you could be as part of the group plan without being an employee of the company. And basically, there are different situations, but the most common one was 18 months. So that's Cobra. Cobra was one way for you to keep insurance with your employer, even though you are not an employee any longer, but you would pay for it. And in most instances, this was very expensive insurance. Now, remember, now you either have no work, you were fired, or you were terminated, or whatever, and you were paying now for this really expensive monthly insurance. But if you had a situation where you needed insurance, you didn't have any other option, and that's how people would do it. So that is Cobra. Okay, now let's talk about how is Cobra modified under Arpa. So we're going to see now the intersection of Cobra and Arpa. Remember, we have this situation where people are paying for this really expensive insurance. Well, under Arpa, any individual who has lost their job, and basically they don't even say that it has to do because of COVID or anything. Any individual that lost their job are eligible for a full premium subsidy that covers the entire cost of Cobra. So basically, instead of you having to pay that monthly premium, let's say it was $1,600 a month, instead of you having to pay for it, now under ARPA, if you have that situation, then you will get a subsidy to pay for the totality of that monthly premium. Now, that specific subsidy is available from April the 1st till September the 30th. So if you say April, May, June, July, August, September, basically it's 6 months. And that is more important than the specific date that you see there, because it is 6 months. So basically, if you started, and we're going to see how the rules change, but basically it's 6 months of the totality of your premium for your health insurance on the Cobra. That is what the Affordable Care Act does. Now, this is very important because this gives you an opportunity to get somebody to get that subsidy, and then when they finish that, then you can enroll them into an ARPA plan now. We used to say an ACA plan, but now we're talking about an ARPA plan. So again, this is going to generate additional opportunities, but this is one way for you to really help people that used to have a job and now they don't have a job because COVID or whatever situation. It doesn't get into the specifics of why you lost the job. Okay, so that's very important. Cobra under ARPA. Okay, now let's say somebody had a job and they were terminated or they quit or whatever, and they were offered Cobra and they declined. This is what I was talking about in terms of the 6 months. They declined Cobra at that time. Remember, before ARPA was converted into law, it was very expensive for you to have to pay the totality of that really expensive monthly premium. So a lot of people would just say, no, thank you. I'm going to decline Cobra. So let's say that was the situation. If that is the situation, either you never took it or you had it and then you discontinue it. You just say, no, I cannot afford this anymore, and you let it go. Now, if you are still within the 18 months that I was mentioning, remember, you still have to be under the 18 months of this having started. You can go back and reinstate the Cobra coverage for 6 months. Okay? So if you elected out of it, you never took it, you declined it as of the first moment, or you started with Cobra and then you realize that it was too much money, you are with no job, or now you have a job where you're not making as much money, okay, you cannot afford this really expensive insurance that your employer used to pay for you, and you let it go, well, under ARPA, you can go back and reinstate that and get the subsidy for the totality of the monthly premium for up to 6 months, okay? And again, the way it works is the, the Cobra coverage elected period in this extended election begins with the first period of coverage beginning on, or this is what I was talking about, the fact that if let's say you started in June, okay, you will go 6 months as of June. Okay, so again, and you need to make sure that it's within 18 months of the time that you were eligible for Cobra. So that's what you need to take into consideration with Cobra. So this generates a lot of opportunities. Number one, as an insurance agent, now you have another way you can really help people. You have now a lot of knowledge and a lot of very valid information that can help you become a good advisor to these people with regards to what to do and how to manage all of these things. Now, notices. The government, the law is very clear about notices. Anybody that is eligible for any one of these extended Cobra election periods will receive a notice, okay, from the employer. And so all employers are obligated to send notifications to their employees if they qualify for any one of these benefits. So it's not that they're just out there by themselves and the employer is going to stay quiet. No. No, and remember, the employer is not the one that is going to be paying for this. It's the ARPA, the federal government is the one paying. So it's not in the employer's best interest not to inform them. And again, this notice will provide additional details and how to request it. So again, this is still in the making. You know, we were deciding on the timing of this continuous education class. We wanted to make sure we didn't do it right after the approval of the law, because there were a lot of things that were not clear. So we waited a little bit until we had more information, but there's still a lot of things that are not clear. This is one of them. Okay, there will be in those notices, there will be additional details about how that's going to work. Nobody knows at this time how the specifics of those payments are going to work. So they're still in the making. Now, individuals, this is very important. They have 60 days after they get the notice to elect it. So it's not that they get this letter and now they have 1 or 2 years in order to decide if they want to take it or not. Once they receive the letter, they have 2 months, 60 days to decide if they want to go back, and it will make no sense not to go back and get it. I mean, it absolutely make no sense for that to happen. Okay. So important considerations. Again, any type of eligibility to any one of these different elements under the law does not make you ineligible for Cobra or for the premium subsidy. So one of the important things about the law is the fact that all these benefits that you are getting, none of them will make you non-eligible for something else. In all instances, basically everything has to be reported, but nothing is going to be added. So that's very important to understand, because I know there is a lot of confusion of what constitutes income, and because it's a very important decision with regards to how much subsidy you're going to be getting. So hey, does this constitutes income? Does this constitutes income, et cetera, et cetera? Well, it's very clear. None of these benefits constitutes income. Now, it needs to be reported. And finally, under this part of the law, if somebody is getting the benefit but becomes eligible for other group health coverage, how can you become eligible for another group health coverage? Either that you get a new job where they offer you group health insurance, that will be option number one, or number two, you become eligible through your spouse's plan. Okay, so anyway, if you are getting this benefit, they're paying for your Cobra insurance, which is very expensive, and you become eligible for group health coverage, you are not eligible for the premium subsidy. So the moment that you become eligible for group health insurance under either your new employer or your spouse's employer, you are not eligible for the premium subsidy. This is very important. Now, if somebody becomes eligible, and eligible is the magic word. Be careful, eligible. Remember all the penalties that people got because they were eligible and they didn't get it. A lot of people had insurance through their employer. They were eligible for the insurance through their employer, and they decided to go to the marketplace and get the subsidies. And guess what? Then they had to pay the money back. Well, this is one of those cases. If somebody is receiving the Cobra premium subsidy, okay, and they become eligible for coverage, they have to notify their employer. If they don't do that, they can get a tax penalty. So this is very important. So again, the point is you're getting Cobra, you're getting paid for your health insurance every month. Remember, it goes for 6 months, and you get this new job. You have to basically drop that coverage and go with the new coverage under the new employer. You cannot not take the coverage from the new employer and continue getting the subsidy from the federal government to pay for your Cobra plan under the old employer. So that's very important there. Again, we're getting a lot of very important and pertinent information with regards to knowing all aspects of how ARPA works. So again, there is a lot of notification. Additionally, employers, group health plans, they need to provide a notice of expiration. Remember, these expirations are very important because you have some very specific time limits, okay? 60 days after they receive the letter, 180 days from the moment that they were eligible, 6 months of coverage. So you have a lot of things, a lot of moving parts in terms of time horizons that are playing at the same time. So the employer needs to communicate notice of expirations of premiums and periods and everything to any individual that is getting any type of benefit under any one of these benefits. Okay. So they have to explain to them how the premium assistance will expire, the date of the expiration. They have to be very clear about that, and an explanation of available coverage options. Okay. Okay. So again, very important. Now, if an individual is under the coverage benefit and they do get group health insurance from another employer, the old employer is not obligated to notify anything. That's in case when their actual plan is the one terminating. And again, the notice must be provided within the period of 15 to 45 days before the date of expiration. So they have to notify them before it's expiring, before the benefit is expiring, for the individual to have time to decide what is it that they're going to be doing. So again, a lot of notices in terms of these benefits expiring so that people have time to do whatever they want to do. So how can you help people with this Cobra under Arpa type of modification? First, make sure they understand that what the situation is. Everything that we cover here, make sure that they know what is happening. Now, let them know that if they would like to stay on Cobra, they will be able to get the subsidy for 6 months. That is the most important message. Hey, if you decide to stay with Cobra, you're going to get a subsidy for the totality of the premiums for 6 months, okay? If you get another benefit group health plan from another employer, you cannot stay with the old plan. And this is very important at the end, because if they elect Cobra continuation, now remember, Cobra by itself is not an SCP. Does not create an SCP. So when the termination comes, the individual, and right now this is not as important because we have this crazy SEP going on that really nobody knows how it's going to end. Initially, they created this SEP that started on February the 15th, and it was going until May, and then they extended it into August. And guess what's going to happen in August? Nobody knows. One option might be they're going to leave it open all year. So in terms of when something starts, an SEP starts or it finishes, I am very skeptical about giving any guidance because, again, they're changing the dates all the time. But the point is that individuals that have this type of coverage, they have to either have another SCP or they have to wait for the annual enrollment in order to get the new coverage. So if Cobra expires, that by itself automatically does not constitute an SCP. And they have to have either one of the old SCPs that is out there, like the one that is in place until August, or they would have to wait until the annual enrollment in order for them to be able to enroll and switch into the marketplace. So that's the point there with regards to that. The finishing of Cobra does not constitute an SCP. That's the point there. Okay. Let's move into something else. Remember when we were talking about the coverage gap, and we were talking about all these people that basically they didn't have the level of income that was necessary, so they would not get all the benefits under ACA, okay? And one of them was these individuals, this woman, okay? So this is a very specific changes that are coming for Medicaid and for CHIP for pregnant women. This is another one of the groups that is getting a very, so we have seen specific coverage, specific benefits for unemployed, specific benefits for people on the Cobra. Now we're going to talk about specific benefits for Medicaid and CHIP, specifically for pregnant women. So pregnant woman. This is for pregnant woman. Okay, so how was it before ARPA? Those pregnant women who were eligible for either Medicaid or for CHIP, based on the fact that they were pregnant, they had basically a benefit that would cover 60 days postpartum. Okay, so they had basically 60 days after they gave birth that they had this additional coverage. Okay, now remember, this is Medicaid, and Medicaid is directly related to the states. So now the states, not the federal government, but the states come in. So ARPA says that states have an option. This is an option by the state. Okay, states have an option for the next 5 years. So they can do it at any time during the next 5 years. So it's an option that they can take over the next 5 years to extend this pregnancy-related help up to 12 months. So the point is that, and this is on a state-by-state basis. I still don't know what the position for the state of Texas is, or any other state for that matter. So the point is that you need to check with your own state, or if you are, like many of us, selling in multiple states, you need to know the rules for each one of the different states. If the state has already put in place this option by ARPA with regards to pregnant women, where they extend this postpartum benefit from 60 days to 1 year. So that's how this works for pregnant women. I would say that basically all states are going to extend it, but we have seen in the past that that's a dangerous statement because they all go in different direction. Okay, again, they just say that you need to make sure that in case that you are interested in something like this, you need to go to your state and you need to make sure that you check it out with your state. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about stimulus payments. The first thing that we need to say about any type of stimulus payment, and by the way, some organizations and some individuals are getting a lot of money through these stimulus payments. The most important thing, again, that we have mentioned in multiple instances, and it should be very clear by now, is the fact that nobody needs to include in the household income um, when they do the healthcare.gov application. So any money from stimulus payments does not need to be included for the healthcare.gov application. And it will not impact, again, we have mentioned it in multiple instances, any type of financial assistance for any type of service that is presented or tackled or modified under ARPA. So all of them are individual. You get all these different benefits, and none of them will disqualify you from the other one. So getting one does not make you not eligible for the other one. So that's how that part works there. Okay. So again, your job is to let consumers know that any type of stimulus payment will not affect consumers' eligibility for premium tax credits or for any type of help with Medicaid, and they do not need to be reported as income to the marketplace. So that's how that part works there. Okay. So now let me go here through the some of the applicability dates. So this is a kind of a summary of what we have covered. Okay, we have the ARPA provisions. Let me change this. The most important ARPA provisions that we mentioned before. We have stimulus payments. We have advanced premium tax credit changes. We have the extension of the federal unemployment compensation. We mentioned that. Then we have an employment compensation for advanced premium tax credit and CSR. Then we talked about Cobra premium support and the extension of Medicaid. So let's get again, let's summarize. And these are the applicability dates. These are the applicability dates for the stimulus payment. Again, the most important thing about any type of stimulus payment is the fact that they do not affect any eligibility for either marketplace financial assistance or Medicaid financial assistance or CHIP financial assistance. So stimulus payments do not affect eligibility to anything. That is the most important message that you get from that. Okay, so let's talk about the advanced premium tax credit changes. The most important element with APTC, number one, basically they implemented a strategy where everybody in the spectrum is going to get benefits. So they have specific instructions or specific parts of the law that apply for each one of the different groups. Remember, we talked about the affluent ones and then the ones in the gap, etc. And so everybody, we talked about, what was it? 4 out of 5 will get a plan for $10. And then we had 1 out of 2 that could get a silver plan. And so we had some numbers with regards to that. And the most important thing is that consumers with household income over 400% of FPL, consumers with more than 400% of FPL, or above that, will not pay more than 8.5% of their income for the premiums of a benchmark plan. Now, let me tell you what a benchmark plan is. In general, a benchmark plan is the second least expensive silver plan offered in your area of coverage. You don't need to memorize that. You don't need to get into the specifics of that. But I just want to give you an idea when they talk about a benchmark plan, what are they talking about? They select this plan, and that's your point of reference. And it's the second lowest monthly premium silver plan in your area of coverage. That's your benchmark plan, okay? So the point is that with the introduction of this 8.5%, now people that are more affluent can also get help for the health insurance coverage. Now, think about that in the sense that you had all these small and medium-sized companies that had group plans. And one of the reasons why they would have those group plans, they had all these directors and the higher level employees. And remember that one of the things about group plans is you cannot discriminate. So you cannot say, okay, we're going to give this amount of help to these people and this other amount of help to these other people. That was dangerous. To get into that arena is dangerous, okay? So many of these high executives, if they would take into consideration something like, okay, why don't we do something? Why don't we cancel this group plan, pay the penalty, and send everybody to the marketplace and let people get subsidies at the marketplace, and we just pay for the penalty. Well, if they did that, all those higher income employees will not get any type of subsidy because of the 400% FPL limit. But now, with this 8.5% feature here, it is very feasible to get a medium-sized group that is obligated to have group health insurance because of their size, the number of employees. And they can say, okay, let's pay for the totality of the penalty associated with not offering employees group health insurance. So our yearly cost or our monthly cost is the penalty. And we send everybody to the marketplace. Everybody gets subsidies in the marketplace, including the high-level employees now. So this is a very valid strategy. Now, there is a danger here. The fact that this is valid for 2021 and 2022. So this would, let's say, work for the next 2 years. Okay? Now, one thing that they could do again in 2 years is to, if things change, which nobody knows in which direction they're going to be changing, is they could go back and get another group plan. So again, this is a very interesting opportunity that signifies major fundamental changes for small and medium-sized groups where they could all go to the marketplace and get everybody covered through the marketplace with these really fantastic subsidies at a penalty cost for the small employer. So that's one option. Okay. Now let's talk about the extension of the federal unemployment compensation. We already said it's $300 per week. Needs to be reported to the marketplace. Very important. And it's enacted through September of 2021. Again, we already mentioned the fact that any consumer receiving any type of unemployment compensation, they will automatically get into the table. Again, I need to reconfirm, but I think it's at 138% of FPL. And now they're going to be able to be entitled to APTC, Advanced Premium Tax Credits, and cost sharing reductions. So just because of the fact that you have unemployment, now you have an enhanced APTC and CSR opportunity. Cobra, we already talked about Cobra. It's basically 100% of the premiums paid for the period from April the 1st to September the 30th, which is 6 months, and that can move based on when the individual gets that started. And finally, the extensions for Medicaid and CHIP for pregnant women, that would be something that states on an individual basis will decide, and they have 5 years to do so, if they want to extend the postpartum benefit for pregnant women from 2 months to 1 year. So that would be the way that works. So these are some summaries in terms of the applicability dates, and that's how they work. Now, there are a lot of different resources, and this is something that I strongly recommend you all to start using. Definitely one of the things that is happening, I mean, if you are an insurance agent and they would have told you what they were going to do with ACA first and now with ARPA, it would have been an unbelievable story. Imagine that they tell you, well, there is this product that is very expensive, okay, very expensive, but now they're going to give everybody money to buy it. The government is going to give all these people the money to buy this really expensive product. And you are the one selling that product. And you're going to get compensation, not on what the individual is paying, but what the government and the individual are paying. So you're going to get full compensation on all of this. And now we're going to also additionally, we're going to make sure that we extend this to almost everybody in America, okay? And you are the one that sells this. This is an incredible opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity to help a lot of people and to make a lot of money in doing so. And we have seen that with a lot of agents, okay? A lot of agents have benefited from all of this a lot. So the point is this: with this passage of ARPA, which is, I would say it's temporarily, because it's basically 1 or 2 years, but most probably, and again, depending on what happens in 2 years, they're going to become permanent. We are in this world where you can have a very decent level of compensation, providing guidance and help to individuals on this. So make sure you learn how to do this properly. So the first thing is, make sure you become acquainted with all the resources available first by the federal government. They have, and I have been a critic of the federal government when they do something bad. I remember when they first started with ACA and the marketplace, 7, 8 years ago, it was a mess. The system will collapse, and it was horrible. And we were very critical. And then we were very critical when the marketplace, you would call and they would take your clients away and all that. But the resources that they have put in place are second to none. And you need to make sure that you learn how to use those resources to help people. So again, you have healthcare.gov. So go to healthcare.gov, more savings. So look at this. And if you go into our digital marketing classes, we're going to show you, we are showing agents how to use all the materials that are provided here, that are created here, to create all these digital marketing campaigns to help people learn how to get more savings. So there is a huge opportunity here in terms of that. Then you have HHS, the fact sheet. This is very important. Okay, this gives you a lot of specific information. Then you have CMS. Okay, this is CMS. You have HHS and then CMS, each one providing an abundant amount of information with regards to everything that has to do with this. And finally, you have a link to the American Rescue Plan Act. So again, this is something that that you need to make sure that you check it out and are familiar with it. That's going to help you a lot with regards to resources available. Additionally, it's important that you participate in trainings, okay? So they have these trainings, RegTab, this website, this platform that they have, it's really good. Okay, the Marketplace Agent and Brokers platform, this has a lot of really good information. You need to make sure that you are familiarized with this and that you participate in these trainings. They have the next agent and broker workshop on June the 17th. Make sure you register, create an account with RegTab, and make sure that you participate in these trainings, because this is really going to help you help individuals. And things are going to continue changing. I'm pretty sure that this is not the end of the changes. I would even say that this is the beginning of some very dramatic changes that are coming up. So you need to make sure that you are kept informed on all of this, okay? So that was basically some of the resources. And additionally, you have all these help desks. and call centers that are available for you. And let me just pinpoint some of them. One, let me emphasize the marketplace service desk. One, the marketplace service desk, that is one. Second, the agent and broker email help desk. They solve a lot of problems via email. And then you have a call center. And this, you can see how the language has changed. Now they call it the agent/broker partner line. They didn't used to call us partners, but now they call us partners. And this is the information. These are the phone numbers and all that. This is the types of inquiries that they handle in each one of these different platforms and the hours of operation. So again, this is where you get a lot of information with regards to all the tools that you might be entitled to. Now, that's basically the information there. I don't know if we have questions. Let me just check. We have a couple of questions. So let's answer to a couple of questions. 1 second. Thank you. See some of the questions. Again, we're going to just answer some of these questions, and then if we don't have enough time, we will answer to you individually. But let me look at some of the questions that we got here. For example, this one here. The first question is, which carriers are giving credit for deductible and out-of-pocket maximums if someone changes to a different plan by the same company? That's a really good question. Well, I'm not going to say the names of the agent, but anyway, this is a really good question. And the information that I have at this time, and I want to emphasize the fact that things are changing, but I would say that up to this point, nobody is giving credit for any type of deductibles that have already been placed if somebody changes plans. So that would be question number one, which I think is because you touch on a very important point, which I emphasized at the beginning, and that has to do with moving to a different plan and not taking into consideration the deductibles that have already been incurred, which again, as we saw before with the limits, they can be a lot of money. So up to this point, no carrier is giving any type of credit. Now, remember something. If you think about this, the level of changes to all these platforms to implement all these changes in prices is huge. It's immense. These companies and the marketplace and everybody's going through substantial programming changes to implement all of this. That's why I always recommend agents not to write business at the beginning of the period, the first couple of days, because there are still glitches and things there. But what I want to emphasize is that there are major changes in all these platforms in order to implement aspects of the law. So what you are recommending here, or what you're asking here, will imply that the carriers, now the insurance companies, do have to make changes to all their cost structures to take into consideration something like giving somebody credit for the deductible or the insurance or the copayment from the previous plan. So I would say that I don't think they're going to do that. But again, I want to be careful with anything that I say that it's going to be permanent, because the changes are incredible. Competition between them will drive their decision, but I know that technically it's complicated for them to adjust and take into consideration old usage of deductibles or copayments for a new plan. And we know that from when people change from a Part D plan in Medicare and the deductibles change a lot, it's a big issue technically. So that would be the answer to that. Another question is, the slide about unemployment compensation and stimulus, does any of these apply to folks working but getting Social Security? I would say yes. Remember that they are very clear about the fact that everything needs to be reported but will not be taken into consideration. So yeah, the answer to that, and again, this is my best guess on each one of these questions. There are many aspects of the law that have still not been put in place, and they're doing it as we speak. So nothing that I answer here is written in stone. That's what I want to clarify. Okay, I'm doing my best guess here in terms of which way is headed. So I would say that, yeah, again, the question, does line about unemployment compensation / stimulus, does any of these apply to folks working but getting Social Security? I would say yes, because they have been very clear all over the place that nothing is going to add. So based on that, I would say that the answer to that question is yes. Next question. If client was on Cobra for 6 months, then got ACA January the 1st, he's asking me if he should switch ACA for his Cobra, since the Cobra is PPO, then switch back to ACA in October. Again, very interesting question. And I would say the following. As we saw in the slides, the Cobra thing is complicated because you have these periods that expire. Remember, let's go back over the periods. The individual has basically Cobra more or less is 18 months as of the moment the individual is initially terminated or decides to quit the job. So it's 18 months. There are other options, but let's talk about this one, which is the most common one, 18 months. Okay, so 18 months of coverage. Now, the benefit from ARPA is for 6 months starting anywhere within those 18 months. Okay, then when that terminates, that individual needs to see where they fall with regards to being able to get another plan. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. But if they have some type of ACA plan right now, they're probably paying a monthly premium. That would be a question to you, Mr. or Mrs. Agent. Are they paying a monthly premium in their present ACA plan? Most probably yes. And if that is the answer, then remember the subsidy for Cobra is 100%. So that means they will pay zero. So that, especially if they're paying $100 or $200 or $300 a month for the ACA premium, will make it swing in the direction of go back to Cobra. Now, that being said, let's make sure that this individual is aware of the date limits so that we don't have any type of coverage issues when they have to come back out of Cobra. That would be my advice in terms of that. The other one, what if a spouse is working and another is unemployed? Can they use that strategy? It doesn't say exactly what type of strategy, but basically a spouse that is working and another one is unemployed, can they use that strategy? I'm going to assume that the strategy we're talking about here has to do with, again, remember that the important thing here is that any type of compensation if you are entitled to compensation because you are unemployed, take it. That's number one. That is clear. I mean, we're talking about what, $1,200 a month, take it. That's number one. Number two, it was all over the place in our presentation that you need to report it to everybody. You cannot hide any type of compensation. So I would say that they should use that strategy. They should take the money in all instances and report all the money. And I don't see any problems with that. We have a couple of additional minutes. We have some additional. We're going to take 1 or 2 more questions and we're going to finish there. Okay. Thank you for your questions. Can the answers be written slides so we can keep the important information that is being asked? This is a great course and lots. Oh, I feel really good about you. Thank you. This is a great course and lots of information will be better presented to see. Okay. And thank you for your comment. Remember that all of this is changing. So that's one of the reasons why, I don't want to write anything in stone, because I know things are changing. Now, remember, all of this, you can see, I mentioned, and in fact, let me go back there. I mentioned all the channels where you can go back and look at all this presentation. Let me go back. We did cover a lot of material, okay? Okay, let me go back to the channels. Remember, I'm going to emphasize the 3 channels again. So we have the Prinsuco Continuous Education channel, where we place all our continuous education courses there. So you're going to, I'm sorry, I missed, let me see. Okay, here. So we have the Prinsuco Continuous Education channel in the Prinsuco website. In the next 2 days, you're going to see the whole training. So you can go there and look at that. Then you have the YouTube channel. You're going to be able to see the presentation, and then you have the Roku channel where you're going to see an edited, more elaborate, because we convert this into a TV program. Okay, so you're going to see a more elaborate in a Roku channel. Now, the actual the answers to the questions, we're not going to put them in slides. Okay, the answer to the questions we're not going to put in slides. But again, remember that I emphasize, and believe me, once you go there, you're going to really like it. Let me go there. I really emphasize the resources that are available, which are second to none. I mean, as I have been a critic of many things done by all this process, I also have to praise the organization and the abundance of information and abundance of resources that they have available. They have a lot of really good information here. Literally, they answer almost every question that you might think about. They do have a lot of information, so the message is become acquainted with all these different resources, become acquainted with this training that they do there, and also with their tools, these different tools that they have available, which are really good. Okay, and then finally, okay, no, another one. I want to clarify on the maternity coverage. After the 60th day of Medicaid, did you say that that is a qualifying event and we can then offer them an ARPA plan? No, they're independent, okay? They're independent. Let me go back here. Let me go back to the table here. Let me emphasize that. Remember, basically, anybody that is in Medicaid is somebody that falls based on their level of income. And let me emphasize it like this. Anybody that is in Medicaid is not covered by ACA or ARPA, literally. Okay, there is this gap here. So a lot of people fall here in this no coverage area, and then Medicaid kicks in. Basically, Medicaid is for the poor. So you have in this case a woman that is pregnant and is poor. They qualify for that benefit. Okay, they qualify for that benefit. Now, the fact that they're qualifying for that benefit does not create an SEP or does not create a reason why they can move to the marketplace subsidies. That benefits it by itself and they can get it, but that does not qualify them to be here. Now, if they file for unemployment, remember we mentioned that if they file for unemployment, then automatically, no matter where they are here, they will qualify for the subsidies. So the question is, after the 60 days of Medicaid, did you say that that is a qualifying event and we can then offer them ARPA plan? Well, depends. You can enroll them in an ARPA plan if they qualify for an ARPA plan. Okay, now remember the table. Okay, let me go back to the table. This is the table, okay? This is, and many of let me change it to this. Many of these stays in place. For example, 100 to 400% still in place. Now, what they do is that if you are over 400, then the 8.5 issue applies. Okay, so we already talked about that. Now, if you are under 100%, so you are at 90% or 8% of FPL. So you're, let me emphasize it here. If you are on this side of the table, you are here, somewhere around here, which in terms of the Medicaid gap is that you are somewhere around here. You are originally not entitled to marketplace subsidies unless you have a qualifying event. So one of the qualifying events would be if you have unemployment. That will bring you up to here. And in fact, they are mentioning that if that is the case, it will be at 138%. So you will be, this will be the level of subsidy that you will get if you have unemployment. The fact that you have had a newborn and got the Medicaid maternity benefit is not a qualifying event to move you into this table by itself. You do get the money, but that by itself is not a qualifying event. You need to have a qualifying event. One of them would be, obviously, if you are at this level of income or more, that would be one. Two, if you get unemployment, then again, that will bring you here. But getting the maternity subsidy by itself is not a qualifying event. Okay. So the last question we're going to finish now. How do we get the CE credit? Remember what I mentioned. Number one, you have to have been with us basically for the 2 hours. And if we cut it a little bit short, for whatever time we were here, you need to have been logged on with us. That's number one. Again, the system prints a report for us now that shows us exactly the attendance of everybody. So we take that into consideration. And make sure you complete as soon as you log off, you're going to get this pop-up with an evaluation report. And so make sure you complete that. And then additionally, if for any reason, let me go back here. If for any reason, I'm sorry, I know that I'm jumping around, but I just want to show you something. If for any reason you don't get that pop-up or you miss it, go to the AINFE website, www.ainfe.com. And under CE courses, you click on CE class evaluation and complete the evaluation. Complete the evaluation. That helps us, and it's also going to allow us to invite you to many other courses that are coming. But the important thing is this: if you have participated in terms that you are in that report and you complete that evaluation form, in the next 48 hours, go to circon.com and you should see your 2 hours reflected there. In Texas, right now, this is only approved for Texas. We're approving it. We're getting it approved for as many states as possible, as fast as possible. So that's number one. Number two, we have the American Institute of Digital Marketing. We have digital marketing for insurance agents, by insurance agents, AMIDIM platform. And if you need more information, shoot us an email and we will provide you with all the information. It's at no cost to you. The idea is to help you learning how to use digital marketing. In fact, we're doing now 10 different channels. In 10 different channels, how to do digital marketing to improve your relationship with your clients and your sales. And you should be getting in the next 48 hours at the most your CE credits. If you don't, please communicate with us. Give us 2 days time for us to process everything. And you're going to be receiving additional invitations from us for continuous education, for financial literacy courses, and for digital marketing training. Again, everybody, thank you very, very much for your participation. And I'm looking forward to continuing this relationship with you into the future. Thank you.